The Meet and Discuss Board meeting of the Ambridge Area School District is held on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. This meeting is being held to review the agenda for the regular monthly board meeting that will be held on Wednesday, November 16th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Can we have everybody rise for the flag salute, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being recorded for district purposes. It is or may be published in part or in its entirety on the district's website without the express permission of meeting participants. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Cephas?
Here.
Mrs. Fisher?
Here.
Ms. Fitzko?
Here.
Mr. Keeber?
Here.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Zachi?
Here.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Here.
All present.
Can I have the sunshine law, please?
The Board of School Directors held an executive session on Wednesday, November 9th to discuss personnel matters subject to attorney-client privilege and other confidentiality laws, litigation or threatened litigation matters.
Thank you. And is there any correspondence this evening?
No correspondence.
Thank you. Any amendments to the agenda? If not, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we have some recognition and presentations this evening. If we could all, board members and administration, go down to the front, that would be great.
All right, first up is boys soccer. Is the team here, or is it just the individuals? If I look on page 1. All right, I'm sorry. Varsity cheer, competitive cheer. Congratulations to the Ambridge competitive cheerleaders. They traveled to Olentangy High School, I think it was a few weeks ago? October 31st. Weekend in Ohio in hopes of receiving a UCA bid. They did place first in game day non-tumble and third in small varsity and were awarded not one but 2 bids to the UCA Nationals. They will be competing in both routines at UCA Nationals in Orlando, Florida in early February. This is the first time Ambridge Cheer has competed on game day in school's history. It was a huge weekend for Ambridge Cheer. The team could join us up here. And coach. You guys, coaches, somebody else want to announce names? Who's here?
Yeah, we're the girls who do it.
Hi, I'm Samantha Orlowski. I'm a senior and I'm captain of the cheer squad.
I'm Emily Klaus, and I'm also a senior and a captain of the cheer varsity squad.
I am Marina Baker, and I am a freshman.
Hi, I'm Allison Baker, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Raina Hammond and I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm Abby Reeves, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Kylie Morrow and I'm a junior.
I'm Bailey Braun, and I'm a freshman. I'm Marty Seymour, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Haley Godfrey, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Nevaeh Cox, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Leah Velasco, and I'm a junior.
I'm Macy Smith, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Liv DeWitt, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Alex Siebert, and I'm a sophomore.
Hi, I'm Jen Phillips, and I'm the varsity coach.
Coach Amanda Helshaw.
Great job. Congratulations. Yeah, hey, congratulations.
Come on, 2 lines, all the back, down it goes. That's all right. I'm not shy. We move or get in?
Darn it, Greg! Come on there, you Randbridge fans. Darn it! I know a little bit. All right, now we'll go on to soccer. The Bridger boys soccer team defeated Hampton, the number 6 seed, in the first round of the WPIL playoffs, and then proceeded to defeat Thomas Jefferson, the number 3 seed, in the quarterfinals, and number 2 seed Plum in the semifinals, en route to their first WPIL championship appearance since 2005. The boys did unfortunately fall in the final at the Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh to the number 1 seed Moon. The boys did advance to the state tournament for the second year in a row. So far, it was this past week. They defeated the District 9 champion Bradford 7-0 in the first round of PIAA playoffs. They do advance to the state quarterfinals this Saturday versus Hershey. Do we know where that is yet?
Johnstown.
Okay, it'll be Johnstown. It's probably posted somewhere online at some point. Is the team here? Anybody, Coach? Yeah, they're probably outside. So we have a certificate for them, and then we'll announce some of the individual awards for them. Boys Varsity Soccer AAA Section 2 All-Section Players, sophomore forward Anthony Powell, senior midfielder Will Gruca, and junior midfielder J.J. Sims, who was an honorable mention. Nobody here? Additionally, for the senior Will Gruca, he was the WPSCA All-State Player. And good luck to our boys here in the coming week. And lastly, to our girls volleyball team, we had 4 section winners, all section winners for the team. Annabelle Harenko was awarded the second team all section. Okay. Annabelle is also a 4-year varsity letter winner. Congratulations. The second person, Samantha Ellenberger, was awarded the third team all section. Jordan Garrison, also third team. And Ava Simmons, also third team. All right.
Certificate in each hand. Not yet? Tight.
I brought some. I said you have probably at your seat, but that's totally okay. These ones here? Like what? These here? Like what? I brought one.
I have a PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah.
I gave everyone a PowerPoint too. So they don't have to go down. Here's one.
How's everyone doing? Good. This is my first presentation for you all. So excited.
Before you start, again, this is Mr. Foster Crawford. He's our Director of Technology. And just a little piece of information on this, just for the public. Some of the board knows this, but our system that we've been using, Tyler, actually is going out of business. So we didn't have a choice. We had to pick a new vendor. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear for the public. And so because of that, we started this process, and I want to introduce you to Attorney. But I think it's important for everyone to know, a little bit of why are we here today. Another task for you right when you got here, but here we go.
Just what I signed up for.
Yep.
Changing out our most important tool that we use every day. So the first slide is just kind of a quick overview of my process that I went through for this. Wasn't exactly what I was intending to do. Do a bunch of hour-long sessions, sitting in webinars. But I did these 10 companies. I sat through the webinars. I had kind of a checklist of things that we wanted to get accomplished. Make sure that it would integrate with tools that we are currently using. One specific one, TransFinder for our buses. I wanted to make sure that we had one that would be a seamless transition. It would paint the information cleanly. No extra handoffs or extra modules that you have to buy for it. So that was one of the big ones. Scheduling tools is very important. It can be quite the pain. I don't really have to deal with it that much. Janice is all over that. She does a great job with it. So that was another one of the big tools. And then again, since it's used every day by teachers, I wanted their input as well. So the gradebook had a little nice input. Something that's familiar, but does what it's supposed to do, but it's going to be. So I went through these different webinars. They were all about 30 to an hour. So from there, I sat through these 10, and I narrowed it down to 3. From there, I got a small group of heavy users. Janice was there. We had a few other principals, had some secretaries, Joe sat in on all these ones as well with Barry. And we narrowed it down to these three. Power Schools is one. It's very popular. It works with our LMS very well because it is our LMS. Synergy is a big up-and-comer. They're making a big push. It looks clean. It works nice. And then Infinite Campus is another popular one. It's one of the higher rated ones out there. And that's actually one that our current SIS recommended that we go with. So they have very good tools for transferring our information from one to the other, which is very important. So we don't want to rebuild our master schedule. So after that, we sat through hour-long meetings. And then I set up a committee, which is this group of individuals here, that would sit in on an hour and a half in-depth demo, specifically geared towards what we're looking at the most. I'm not that concerned about the back end. I'm going to learn it regardless because I'm going to have to use it every day as well. So as long as the front end users, the teachers, the schedule builders are comfortable with it, and they feel that they will be comfortable with it, that was my goal with getting the committee together. So we had a good group of different individuals. We had nurses, we had teachers, we had admin. From there,
Just real quick there.
Yeah.
Just to thank the committee too, that was volunteering at the time, with busy days, to be able to provide that feedback, so we sent it out to everybody. So just a thank you to all of them for being a part of this outside of the work day.
yeah, it was a 3 to 4:30, so they were staying, giving extra time after the day. And so after that second meeting, we did a 20-minute debrief, talked about pros and cons. From there, I sent out a simple survey, 3 questions. What's your name? Which SIS did you like the best? And why? Very simple. Not everyone responded, but we did have a winner. It was Infinite Campus out of between Synergy and Infinite Campus. This is some of the takeaways. So, 2 of them were from nurses. They really liked the tools that they had where they could do eye tests and things like that in it. And another one thought that it looked a little better with the grade book. From there, we had, these are just 3 points, there were a couple more. But, someone said it looks happier for them on their grade book side, things like that. And scheduling looked easier to use, more user-friendly, more tools towards it. So from there, we would be selecting Infinite Campus, which, this is just a quick breakdown. And I'll go more in depth of the different options and modules that we can add on. They offer, we could end up just using one system through Infinite Campus for everything. For our last system, for our learning management. Now, I'm not trying to rock the boat too much. I don't want to come in and make these major changes on several different things right up front. But we are forced to go to the SIS, like Dr. P had said, and I think Infinite Campus is definitely going to be the best option for us. They've been around since '93. They're in 45 of the states. They have over 7.7 million students that they are currently working with and have been doing a great job. I personally use the parent side because my kids at Shaler, they use Infinite Campus. I actually had parent-teacher conferences last night, and I actually asked the teachers right then and there, how does it work for you? Is it good? Do you like it? What don't you like about it? They said the gradebook's actually one of the best features of it, which is the #1 tool that the teacher is going to use. They do integrate with all of our systems that we use now, TransFinder. They actually have built in with their standard system that we're paying extra for Tyler. We're paying for Tyler Pulse. They actually have it all built in. That comes included with it. And it's actually going to end up being, this is just their mission statement. That it is your package as well. But it will come down to being about $23,250 if we just use the baseline. And then, as I said earlier, there's different modules. These are different prices and stuff, but we can do all of our registration online. We can switch to their LMS. We can have their telecom system. We can even use them for food service as well. So down the road, we can eventually probably save even more money, because right now this is coming in about, we paid Tyler almost $30,000 this past year. So it's coming in, $7,900, which add that up yearly, it adds up. It's not a huge savings, but savings nonetheless for something that's going to work better and should last longer. So that's why we went with Infinite Campus. I am working to get additional prices. I mean, you can see out here we added this one here. Will it help it? $40,000, but we're also going to be taking money from other systems that we are paying. Now we could go with their LMS, but like I said, I know the teachers are very happy. We would still have to be paying for Seesaw anyways, because the primary grades, most schools are actually using Seesaw. So it's just easier to communicate with parents, to display what they're doing, and it works well with the iPads. That's better than the other LMSs and Schoology and things like that. So probably never going to get away from that one unless somebody really communicates very well. But that's a quick breakdown.
Just a couple quick points before any questions that you might have. From where I sit at this given point, the first column, just so you know, anytime you're moving from one system to another, I've had this happen one other time, there is a transition cost. So you're going to see that transition cost for PD rollovers and those types of things. That is hidden. Just so you know, that's the one column for the 8,000.
Yeah. 150.
And then the other thing I would say is, right now, I did ask Mr. Crawford, and he said we could add these other types of things later, but my recommendation, everyone at this point, is I think staff really focus on trying to use Schoology and use Seesaw, and obviously class that go out are very important. We found that to be effective overall, so I would recommend at this point, even though there are some options there, that we just transition into the SIS, keep our current programming, so it's my recommendation, and then eventually we can kind of maybe get some demos and see if there's something that we might want to try to save on. Right now, at this given point, I would probably say stay with the base model. The only other thing I will say is it wasn't the best product, to be honest with you, where I saw data analysis for Tyler Pulse system, but it was satisfactory. That is not included in this. We used to use here, and I'm aware of that from when I was here before, and other places, what's called EdInsight, and it's a data tool. So I am asking Mr. Crawford to get a price on that. So there is going to be an additional cost because they don't have a data analysis tool. Is that correct?
No, they do.
They do now?
It's actually included with
That's good information from today.
Yeah, I reached out to their senior VP of sales. He actually got back very quickly. He said, I can read what he said.
Well, that's okay.
But
So-
basically he said, we've worked with other Tyler schools in the past that have used Pulse, and they said that, they say, but, they're
All right,
saying
well,
the reports and everything.
that's good new information that I've had from when we met this afternoon to today. So that means now that it's included in the 23,000, we'll try their data analysis tool first. If it's satisfactory as Pulse was, then we wouldn't need to add that insight. If in fact that we do, we have to come back to you at that given point. But that's a piece of positive news that I didn't.
I am still getting a price on what Insight is. I mean, that was these needs of data analysis tools, but these should be satisfactory for it.
So we'll try. We'll work on that and see if it is satisfactory and go from there. So.
You should like
All
my
right.
sense already.
You're good. Yeah. So I thank you for getting that additional information. Those are the last couple of points I had. I'll open it up.
Yeah. Anyone have questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so is this face value cost or is this competitive cost? Meaning, did they just send this over and say, hey, this is what it is, or?
No, this is the cost by our student numbers. So
this wasn't negotiated?
There is no negotiation. Everyone has a set cost for.
Okay.
So Synergy is $35,000, and I did not even like it as much.
No, I understand.
But,
I understand.
no, they kind of have their set prices on what, because, I mean, so I'm saying that they have data analysis stuff included, Synergy, included theirs too, but they're considering it, premium, so they're getting different costs, but there's no real negotiation when it comes to these things. They have a set price by per student. It will drop a little bit. It's an economy scale, right? So when you have more students, the price per student drops down. So that's how.
Well, forgive me, I missed the drop date for Tyler.
We will have Tyler through the end of this year.
Okay, so we don't have any worries.
Yeah, no, we're not worried about anything this year. So this 8,000 is for the transition period of us having to transfer Tyler's information into the system, getting it set up. So all the background work that me and my team will be doing that nobody will know or care to do or ever see, but that helps us in our transition.
Okay, are they giving you cluster and guarantees about migration data loss? So it's like transfers, grades, and all the records into the new system? I assume they've been down this.
Yes, so, I mean, they're stating that it would be 99% retention, so.
And the final thing is from, I see implementation. Assuming the staff is going to meet awareness, right?
Yeah,
And
so.
the public will too.
Including this, we have unlimited PD.
I'm sorry?
We have unlimited professional development during the implementation phases.
And is that on-site or is that?
It can be either on-site or virtual. And then.
Is on-site included?
Yep.
If needed?
Yep. And then there's additional blocks of hours of training for specific modules. So Janice and the other schedulers, the guidance and secretaries, they will have just focused on scheduling training as well. We get a block of hours. I mean, we're talking 46, 60, 80 for different things. So there's a lot of training that's included. Which is important.
That's a lot of work in that large, and that's the thing.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing. I love sitting on meetings. But any other questions? Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Just to conclude that presentation, then, we will be adding that to the agenda. Is everyone okay with that? Yes. So, Ms. Mueller, please work with Foster to get an agenda item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, district residents may come forward to comment on agenda items only. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to speaking. Each resident will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. This period for public comment prior to the standing committee reports will be limited to 1/2 hour. Although not required, board members desiring to address questions or concerns may do so after the residents' comments or questions or at the conclusion of the committee reports. There will still be an opportunity for residents to comment on any business relevant to the Amherst Area School District under old and new business at the end of the meeting. Is there anybody that would like to comment on any agenda items? Okay. For legislative action for this meeting, under Personnel and Salary Schedule and Labor Relations, Mr. Cephas and Mr. Smith.
What you think? You want me to take it?
I'm okay if you want.
Okay, all right.
So personnel, salary schedule, labor relations, all new hires pending receipt of satisfactory and current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, responses by current and former employers, to Act 168 screening and the PDE certification if applicable. So since this is the first meeting, we will briefly read them, have any discussion, and then go ahead and vote. Number 1 is retirement. It is recommended to approve the resignation of Karen DeMarco due to retirement from her position as the Ambridge Area High School biology teacher effective December 1st, 2022 with regret. Any discussion? Number 2 is a paraeducator. It is recommended to ratify the following individuals to fill a paraeducator position as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Educational Support Professional Association, the collective bargaining agreement pending receipt of current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB test, response from current former employers of Act 168 screening. They are Bob Golish at the high school, Lorianne Musser at State Street Elementary, and Kristen Hernandez, pre-kindergarten at State Street Elementary. Is there any discussion on number 2? Number 3 is a posted position for clubs and activities. It is recommended to ratify the following individual who has applied for a specified posted position for the 2022-23 school year. Be approved at a rate as per their collective bargaining agreement, provided the school year allows the sponsors are able to hold activities as normal. The activities in club at the high school will be an art club, and that will be Miss Jamie Orth at $470. Is there any discussion on that? Number 5 is a mentor teacher. It is recommended to approve the following mentor teacher assignments for the 2022-23 school year. Be approved as per the negotiated agreement. Under the mentor teachers, we have Michelle Druga, and she will have Alexis Kogas. Ben Holmes will have Zachary Dugan. Chelsea Benedict will have Catherine Couch. Are there any discussion on that? Number 5, 2022-23 fall coaches. It is recommended to ratify the following individual to fill the designated fall coaching position for the 2022-23 school year at a salary as per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, pending receipt of current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB tests, and response from current and former employers of Act 168 screening, provided the school year allows coaches to hold fall sports as normal. There is a girls soccer listed for middle school, an assistant coach, Mr. Don Ayers, at the stipend of $1,350. Is there any discussion on that? Number 6 is a winter spring coach. Recommended the following individual be approved to fill the designated winter spring coaching position for the 2022-23 school year at the salary as per the collective bargaining agreement, pending all of the below clearances. There is a girls basketball coach, Lydia Babel, varsity assistant coach, at a stipend of $2,410, and then Amanda Mitchell, also a varsity assistant coach, at $2,410. Boys basketball coach, Craig Wiltrek, a middle school assistant coach, at a stipend of $1,750. Is there any discussion on those? There's another resignation. It is recommended to approve the resignation of Gloria Correa from her position at the Ambridge Area High School Spanish teacher, effective November 15th, 2022 with regret. The district does reserve the right to retain the employee for the 60 days statutory period or until relieved of duties, whichever comes first. Any discussion? Number 8 is a professional employee. It is recommended to approve Sydney Smith as a Highland Elementary Learning Support Autistic Support Teacher for grades 3 through 5 at a salary of $46,771, which is step 1 bachelor's, as per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, pending all clearances. Is there any discussion? Number 9 is another professional employee. It is recommended to approve Madison Byers as an Ambridge Area High School Learning Support, Emotional Support, Autistic Support, Life Skills, Transition, Special Education Teacher at the salary of $46,771, step 1 bachelor's, as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Education bargaining agreement and pending all of the below clearances. Is there any discussion? Number 10 is also a professional employee. It is recommended to approve Lydia Babel as a Highland Elementary Learning Support, Emotional Support, grades K through 4, at a salary of $46,771, step 1 bachelor's, as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Education Association agreement, and pending all the clearances listed below. Is there any discussion on number 10? Moving on, number 11, tutoring. It is recommended to approve the following teachers for tutoring at all grade levels to address the learning gaps due to COVID-19. The tutoring program will meet a maximum of 2 days a week. The teachers will be paid 1.5 hours per day at the contracted rate. This is funded through ESSER's 3 grant. Through Ed Economy, we have Jacqueline Koski, Tammy Kennedy, Susan Manupelli, Jen Shannon. At Highland, there is Marie Buck, Alexis Kogas, Brandy Skonechny. And at State Street, we have Christine Fischel. At the high school, it will be Christina Briola as a substitute with Greg Mell. And at the middle school, we have Alexander Jewell. Any discussion on the tutoring? Under number 12, the Athletic Transportation Secretary. It is recommended to approve Rachel Phipps as the Athletic Transportation Secretary as per the Ambridge Area Education Support Professional Association, pending receipt of the clearances below. Any discussion? And finally, number 13 is a resignation. It is recommended to
Mrs.
approve.
Smith?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No
Can you
problem.
Hold 1 second.
Can I communicate just a quick wording change on this last one?
Sure, which one?
On 13.
Mhm.
So rather than 60 days, how about the maximum statutory period?
Mhm.
We just want to confirm the date, but I don't know that off the top of my
So
head.
it'll, okay. The maximum.
Statutory period.
Okay. Do we have to go back and amend?
No.
No, okay. Under 13, there is a correction. It will read as such. It is recommended to approve the resignation of Thomas McKelvey from his position at the Highland Elementary principal, effective November 8th, 2022. The district reserves the right to retain the employee for the maximum statutory period or until relieved of duties, whichever comes first. With that being said, I will make a motion to approve items 1 through 13 as amended.
Second.
Any board discussion on any of those items?
Could I just ask one question? Forgive me for not knowing everybody. Is Rachel Phipps on number 12, is Rachel Phipps already a district employee?
Not that I'm aware of. No, she's not.
So this is a new hire?
From the interview that I had, yeah, it's a new hire.
Do we have a prospective salary range, or is that not for discussion here?
It just goes per the union contract for that position. And I would have to pull it out to be 100% accurate. I can get you that information.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Any other board discussion? Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Cephas?
Yes, with regret for Mr. Thomas McKelvey's resignation.
For what?
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes, and I'll concur with Tom. Happy for Mr. McKelvey, but sad that we'll lose an employee after 10 years given to our district. Has done many good things for our kids. So congratulations to Tom, but he'll be missed.
Ms. Fitzko?
Yes.
Mr. Keeber?
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zachi?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramasco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under committee reports, non-voting items, under education and technology, I would assume Mr. Zachi, you're taking this one?
Nope.
That was a lot. You had to.
Whatever. I think you owed me one.
That's rough.
Item number 1, McGraw-Hill 2020 WonderWorks. It's recommended to approve the adoption of McGraw-Hill 2020 WonderWorks Reading Intervention Materials for Students with Disabilities. Total cost will be $11,769.78, paid through ESSER's funding. Any discussion? Number 2, it is recommended to approve the formation of the Unified Club at the high school with the sponsor to be paid the stipend of $470. The Unified Club falls under the umbrella of the Special Olympics. The goal is to support the inclusion of all students with an emphasis on students with disabilities. It promotes positive relationship between typical peers and peers with disabilities as the club members meet to develop school-wide activities such as dances, sporting events, and other fun activities, as well as spearhead campaigns such as Spread the Word to End the Word. Is there any discussion?
I don't have any discussion, but I don't know who to thank for that, but I don't know if that was Ms. Zupsik or whoever formed the club, but thank you. Thank you so much for embracing it and finding a sponsor to take this on. Very special. Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Filipowski.
Do we have a sponsor yet?
Yeah, they'll be coming next. You have to, once you approve that, we also have sponsors. We have 2 that are going to sponsor. It'll be on there next week.
Okay. Anything further? And number 3, Slippery Rock University affiliation. It's recommended to approve a 5-year affiliation agreement between a Ambridge Area School District and Slippery Rock University at no cost to the district. And number 4, Slippery Rock University Counselor Internship Agreement. It is recommended to approve a counselor internship agreement between Ambridge Area School District and Slippery Rock, again at no cost. Discussion on 3 or 4?
I'd just like to commend you, Dr. Pasquarella, for building that relationship with Slippery Rock. They're an exemplary university, and I think we've already felt the benefit of your efforts on that point, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Zachi. Under Finance and Budget and Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Kiever.
I'll go. I'd like to discuss the following for discussion for next week. Just as a point of information, we need to discuss the procurement procedures. This is nothing new, just something we need to talk about, and we revisit this every few years as I understand it. The Food Service Department is seeking board approval and implementing new procurement procedures and code of conduct. Procurement is a multi-step process for obtaining goods and services at the best possible price, and that also allows for open competition, fairness, and integrity. The Code of Conduct sets ethic-based principles one must follow in the procurement process. This is at no cost to the district. School district monthly bills and salaries. It's recommended that the monthly school district bills to be determined and the monthly school district personnel salaries in the amounts listed be paid. Number 2, cafeteria monthly bills and salaries. It's recommended that the monthly cafeteria bills in the amount to be determined and the monthly cafeteria personnel salaries and the amount listed be paid. Budget transfers. It's recommended to approve budget transfers for November 2022. Number 4, preliminary budget resolution. It's recommended the board adopt resolution number 6 in accordance with the preliminary budget requirements as set forth in section 311 of Act 1 regarding the district's election to not to increase any tax. Let me repeat that for everybody. Regarding the district's election not to increase any tax for the support of the Ambridge School District for the 23-24 school year at a rate that exceeds the index of 5.5% as calculated by the PA Department of Education. Number 5, on the approved vendors, it's recommended to add Canella Financial Group as a service provider for the Ambridge Area School District's 403B plan administered by the Omni Group. Any questions? Discussions?
Dr. Pasquarella, would you mind just speaking to number 4? It's a pretty big item, so.
Sure. I mean, at this time of year, in conjunction with the business manager, we look at whether or not we think we would want to file for exceptions to go above the index. And at this given point, what we're saying to the public is that we're making a recommendation to you, hopefully for approval, that we would not seek any exceptions to go above the index. Furthermore, it doesn't mean that we will increase to the index. That obviously is a board decision, and we will be working diligently as we did last year to come in with a budget as close to possible to not require a tax increase, but that's a process that we go through. But I think it's definitely a step in the right direction to just let everyone know right now, we're not looking to seek exceptions, and we're looking to do our due diligence as we have the past few years to come in as appropriate as possible with, again, expenditures and revenues.
Thank you, and thank you for all your hard work on that. both of you. Any other board discussion on any of those items? Okay. Under Athletics and Public Relations, Mr. Zacci and Ms. Fitzko.
Okay. Number 1, WPIAL. It is recommended to approve Marina Baker and Elizabeth Hope to represent the Ambridge Area School District as independent WPIAL gymnasts. The board further authorizes Terry Gazda to serve as their coach for all practices and meets. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. It isn't every year that we have gymnasts that represent Ambridge, so that's nice that we have a few again. And congratulations to them. That's no small feat. Since they'll be representing Ambridge, will they get a uniform of some sort or be able to wear our colors? How does that work?
It's a good question. I don't know the exact answer to that, how it's been done in the past, but I could definitely look into it. I don't know if Mr. King or Dr. Zubczyk, are you familiar in the past at this point?
In the past, we have bought them uniforms depending on the situation. And I think that was for swimmers, though.
So my recommendation would be that they are representing our school district, so if there is a nominal cost to provide uniforms, something like that, that we would do that. If we know that it's going to come, we could start to incorporate that into the budget for future years, but I think at any rate, we wouldn't want them to not be represented by our school. So I'll take a note down. Dr. Zubczyk, we can look at that with Mr. Lamenza and see from there what we need to do. Maybe that's already been done as typical practice, but we'll look into it for sure.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you. Under Steering and Rules and Legislative, Mrs. Kehoe and Mrs. Fisher.
Yes, Mrs. Ramasco, I'll begin.
Thank you.
I have number 1 for the reorganization meeting. It is recommended the reorganization meeting be scheduled on Wednesday, December 7th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. Any questions? Number 2, December board meetings. It is recommended the Meet and Discuss board meeting be scheduled on Wednesday, December 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the high school cafeteria with a regular monthly board meeting immediately following. Any questions?
We're moving back to the cafeteria? The play?
Due to the musical rehearsing in here from December until March.
Oh.
We'll have to move back to the cafeteria.
Thank you. I did not realize it was so long. Thank you.
Number 3, Policy 263.1, Threat Assessment, First Reading. It is recommended as a first reading to adopt School Board Policy 236.1, Threat Assessment for legal liability purposes. School entities are required to establish procedures for implementation of 24 PS Section 1302E regarding threat assessment. Any questions? Number 4, Policy 805, Emergency Preparedness and Response, First Reading. It is recommended as a first reading to revise School Board Policy 805, Emergency Preparedness for the legal liability purposes. School entities are required to establish procedures for responding to reports from the Safe to Say Something program. Any questions?
Item number 5 is Policy 805.2, School Security Personnel. It is a first reading. It is recommended as a first reading to revise School Board Policy 805.2, School Security Personnel for legal liability and auditing purposes. Any questions? Item number 6 is Policy 916, Volunteers, first reading. It is recommended as a first reading to revise School Board Policy 916, Volunteers, to enforce reasonable rules and regulations governing volunteers and their participation in the activities of the district. I do have a question on this. In the revised policy, it talks about the senior tax credit program. Where is the funding coming for that?
So at this given point, my understanding was that we were considering and having a conversation with the board about that as to whether or not we were going to offer that program. Let me pull that out. What I remember when we read it and went over it was, it seems like they would get some kind of credit on their
Right, tax
taxes.
credit, right.
Yes, that's how I read it. Let me pull it back up.
It was like the last section.
Well, we didn't check that, if you see. So I wanted you to know that it's an option, but you would have to check that if you wanted to participate in that. At this given point, we didn't put a selection, by that, because we haven't done that in the past. I'm not saying it's a negative thing, I'm just saying that it would be your choice as to whether or not you wanted to do that. But anyway, it kind of indicates there that the board would establish senior tax reduction incentives to allow individuals who are at least 60 years of age, who own real estate property in the district, and have resided with the district for at least 90 days to receive a real property tax credit in exchange for volunteer service in the district as permitted by state law. The district may seek, this is where it comes from, private and public funds, sources to support the program. So we would have to try to go out and look for people to sponsor this type of program.
Okay, so are we including that in the revised or not?
Well, I did not check that.
Okay.
No. But I did leave it in there for, I'm assuming when June did print this for you, we wanted you to know that it is an option that you had. Typically, when we don't check something, we leave it out so that it wouldn't be in there. But I think in this case, we decided at the end to leave it in case you were interested in that. The concern I have with it, only one thing, even though it would be a good program, is can we get the funding from everywhere in order to be able to guarantee to be able to give them that relief, where would that come from? It would take effort and time and see. I know there was a lot of times, and you'll see this, and for a while, I don't want to speak out of turn here, the solicitor might have heard of this before, but there was a certain pot of money where a lot of businesses could go and turn it in to the state. Some of those we still write letters of support, for example, the Children's Museum and those things. The issue is when you turn new ones in, often we found in previous places that I have worked that there's only one pot of money and then you don't really get that back. So I'm not sure if that's specifically for their earned income tax credit situation or if they're actually saying we would go out to local vendors. My concern with local vendors is we ask them both from the school district and from the boosters and such to do a lot already. So to start to ask them to do that, that's an issue. One other issue that can come of this sometimes, not always, but it can come, is what you're asking them to do and if that is bargaining unit work, just to be honest. But so there's pros and cons to both of it. At this given point, I don't think it's something that we totally shut the door to in the future. But at this given point, I was wondering where we would get the funding and that goes with it. So I wanted you to be aware, but not recommended at this time.
Okay. Item number 7 is the Articles of Agreement. It is recommended to approve the Beaver County Career and Technology Articles of Agreement to approve the revised bylaws for the operation of the school under the school code. And let me just say, this has been 8 years in the making. The original Articles of Agreement expired in 1997. We haven't had any since then. There were 2 major changes, and I don't know if you had the opportunity to read through them. One was because of change in the school code. Dr. Rosendale can no longer be the technically superintendent of record. That has to come from one of the sending school districts, and that will be a decision made by the superintendents, and Dr. Pascarella has sat in on a conversation on that before. And the other big thing is the CTC currently does not have a capital projects improvement fund, and we definitely need to have that. The building is 47 years old, and probably within the next couple of years we're going to need a new roof. So that was like the biggest changes. There's a few little tweaking of some words in the agreement, but other than that, That's where it probably is.
That's included in the new?
Yes,
capital?
it is in the new articles of agreement. Everybody got a copy if you read through them. I don't know if you had an opportunity to compare them to the old ones, but that's pretty much it.
My main point on that, just to reiterate, and I think it was that way, that you still will approve the budget. And
Yes.
that would give you the opportunity, because we all have capital improvement needs. And my major statement was, I understand they need to be able to do that without trying to reach out to all sending schools when something goes wrong. That being said, we should always be cautious in looking at that budget to make sure that what they're planning on doing makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not a project that is so large that it would be something that we would need to be concerned about the cost going up significantly. But I think when all the sending districts have the opportunity to vote on that final budget, I feel pretty confident that it's probably a good idea for them to start to be able to budget small amounts and pick these things off. And when things come up in your district or in their building, they have to address it. It could be a safety concern. So that's where I sit.
So does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, that concludes our report.
Thank you very much. I do not have anything under my address this evening. Dr. Pascarella?
I just want to congratulate again our cheer team who came in and wish them the best of luck as they continue to practice, and also our soccer team. It was an enjoyable event to watch them play the Whippeal title game there, as well as some other playoff games down at Highmark Field. A beautiful venue. I'm very proud of them, and I hope they continue to win all the way to the States. So, yeah.
Only one.
Proud of them. Yep, so.
She got 7.
Other than that, yes, just want to reiterate that, and we're very proud of the kids. And winter seasons are going to be starting up here, starting practice. There'll be games coming, so please feel free to support the kids. And you'll probably hear me say a few times, there'll also be some concerts that people will be able to attend as well. Dates should become available, so thank you.
Thank you. Solicitor Turnbull?
No report.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is now time for old and new business. Any district resident who desires to comment on any business relevant to the Amber Area School District should now come forward. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to speaking. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. This period for public comment prior to the standing committee reports will be limited to 1/2 hour. Anybody who wishes to comment this evening? Okay. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for coming this evening.